Welcome to your own channel of Right Funda. We will start today's doubt discussion session, and today is the third part of the doubt discussion for rotation mechanics. And today first question we have taken that of Anupriyam. Let's read the question. A uniform circular cylinder of mass small m and radius small r is given an initial angular velocity omega naught and no initial translational velocity. It is placed in contact with a plane inclined at an angle alpha to the horizontal. If there is a coefficient of friction mu for sliding between the cylinder and the plane, find the distance the cylinder moves up before sliding stops. Also, calculate the maximum distance traveled by the plane. Assume that mu is greater than 10 alpha. So let's see what are the keywords and how to think about this problem. Then I will be solving the problem. First thing is saying that first is not the circular cylinder is there, number one thing, and its radius is given. Initial angular velocity omega naught, but no translational velocity. First, no translational velocity given, only omega was given. It placed in a contact with a plane inclined plane at theta to the horizontal. There is a rough surface there, coefficient of friction mu, sliding between the cylinder plane. Find the distance the cylinder moves up before sliding stop. There are two questions asking. Find the distance before sliding stops. Second thing is that calculate the maximum distance of the plane traveled by the cylinder. And question is the mu is greater than 10 alpha. This information is given. So from this information, we're getting a lot of information from this itself. So we'll be solving this problem and how to approach that will be discussing. This is a rough surface, and on this a cylinder of is given some angular velocity omega naught. So if it is given a angular velocity omega naught, then what will happen? There will be sliding will be there definitely, and no translational velocity not given. So there will be sliding will be there. So a friction force will act, and in this case, a friction force act in the upward direction, and the friction force will be kinetic in nature. Kinetic friction force will act. And it is given that mu is greater than tan theta. From that we will get the information that what is this we can get? Mu mg cos theta. In this case the kinetic friction force is greater than mg sin theta. From this information we can get. So the force that is acting mg sin theta downward is lesser than friction force. So body will be going off. From this we can come to know. So what will happen? As the body will go up, its linear speed is getting developed. From 0 it will keep on increasing, and the omega naught will be keep on decreasing from omega naught to some other value. So after some time what will happen here, it will gain some velocity and its omega will change, and it will may satisfy the relation v1. After some time attain the velocity v1 is equal to r omega is suppose satisfied. And if this condition is satisfied, then we'll call it is a pure rolling motion, because bottommost point will not be sliding at that moment. So from here to here at this point, the body has slided over the surface and it has attained the pure rolling conditions. It has attained the pure rolling. So first question is saying that how much distance will go off, suppose give the name S1, so that it will start pure rolling or to stop sliding. But after that, will the body will stop? No, the body will not stop here. Body will keep on moving up with a rolling motion, pure rolling motion. So till the time kinetic friction will act, after that the static friction will act here. The bottommost point contact velocity will be 0 always, but it will go up, but mg sin theta is acting downward. So after some time, velocity will come to 0. So it is saying that another distance s2 it will be moving. So this is the maximum distance that will be traveling. S is equal to s1 plus s2. So we'll be calculating two questions I'm asked. One is to find the distance will travel before sliding stops, and second question the maximum distance it is go, how much maximum distance will go up the inclined plane. So for this we'll be drawing the free body diagram of the block and we'll be solving. First let's solve the S1 part. If we draw the free body diagram, on this body there is a normal reaction will be there, and there is a mg will be there. I can resolve this mg into two components. One will equal to mg sin theta and another is equal to mg cos theta, and there will be a friction force, kinetic friction force, and Fk is equal to mu mg cos theta, because n is equal to mg cos theta, that will be acting. So from this we can write the force acting on the body. Net force is equal to, in upward direction we will write mu mg cos theta minus mg sin theta. From that F is equal to ma, you can write. So acceleration at any time will be equal to g time mu cos theta minus sin theta. So body will be going upward with an acceleration of this much. Similarly, on this body, once you got the acceleration, on this body there will be torque will be acting, and who will be producing the torque? In this case is the friction force there. So it's equal to R into F, R mu mg cos theta. This is the torque acting on this, and the torque is equal to I alpha, and I value will be substituting. This is equal to half mr square, because the cylinder is there, and we can calculate the alpha to be equal to 2 mu g cos alpha by R. In this is in the of the inclined plane there, and this will be the R cross F. This is the R value, this is the F value, the R cross F. So it will be in the anti-clockwise direction. I can write the K cap, or I'll say that this is the anti-clockwise directions. Okay. So this will be reducing the omega. Initial omega naught was like this, it will be decreasing the omega. So we got the alpha value, and we got the acceleration of the cylinder of the incline. From these two conditions, we see that this is a constant quantity, this is a constant quantity. We can calculate the velocity of the cylinder at any point of time, and the angular velocity of the cylinder at any point of time. We have that v is equal to u plus at and omega is equal to omega naught minus alpha t. So from this we can calculate after some time, suppose the v1 is the velocity there when pure rolling take place, and omega naught. So after any time t, we can find the velocity v1 is equal to g into mu cos alpha minus sin alpha into t. This is the velocity at any point of time till the time those friction force will be acting. And similarly, I can calculate that omega 1 is equal to omega naught minus 2 mu g cos alpha by R into t. So these are the omega at any point of time. This. And if after t time, suppose the pure rolling take place, then at that time v1 and this omega 1 must satisfy the relation this one, then only pure rolling will take place. So if we put this value of v1 here and omega 1 here and substitute, then we'll be getting the value of time after which the pure rolling will take place as equal to omega naught R by g times 3 mu cos alpha minus sin alpha. So after this much time, suppose I give the name t1, after a time of t1 of this much, then the body will transition itself from the sliding motion to the pure rolling motion. At that time, bottommost point of contact velocity must have been 0. This is the time. So we can find, once you find the time, and we know the acceleration of the block is known to us. So for center of mass, we can put the formula S is equal to ut plus half at square, initial velocity is 0. So half acceleration value I know, g into mu cos alpha minus sin alpha, they will calculated, and time we have calculated right now, and time square I will put omega naught square R square by g square into 3 mu cos alpha minus sin alpha ka whole square. If we simplify this, we'll be getting a value is equal to omega naught square R square into mu cos alpha minus sin alpha by 2g into 3 mu cos alpha minus sin alpha ka whole square. This will be getting the value of S1. This is the S1 value that will be obtaining. What is the S1 is there? S1 is the distance traveled by the center of mass up the incline before the sliding stops, or by the time pure rolling take place. So this distance, we got the answer of the first question that we obtained, that how much is the displacement or distance traveled by the cylinder of the incline before sliding stops. So we'll be going to the second question. We'll be going to second question and calculating. But before we go to second question, let's calculate what is the velocity at that instant when pure rolling starts. At that time, what is the velocity there? We can apply the formula v is equal to u plus at, or v square is equal to u square plus 2as formula, twice of a into s, under root of twice of a into s, that I can substitute and we can get the value of the v1. So either by applying v is equal to u plus at or s equal to ut plus half at square, s b square equal to u square plus 2as, we can obtain the velocity when the pure rolling starts to be equal to this much. And from that we can find the corresponding value omega 1 can also be calculated by v1 by r. So this, accepting this r. To solve the second questions, you will see after that friction force will not be acting. Only the forces, that is the mg's ka component, will be there downward. Friction force is acting here. After that friction force is acting, but friction force is static friction force. So pure rolling had taken place here. After that, as it goes, the friction force that will be acting is no longer kinetic, there will be static friction force, and static friction force value has to be calculated. But the friction force, though it will be acting, it will not be doing any work because the point of contact is not sliding over the surfaces. So from here to here, I want to apply the work energy theorem. The forces which will be doing work is the only one force, that is the gravitational force, and it is the mg sine theta, and it will be doing a work of minus mg sine theta into s2 from, and that work energy theorem I apply, that will be equal to change in kinetic energy. So if I want to write the change in kinetic energy, so I will be writing the equation minus mg sine theta work done by all the forces is equal to S2 is equal to change in kinetic energy is equal to final kinetic energy equal to 0, because at that time when it reaches the highest point, velocity is 0, omega also 0, because it is all the time pure rolling, v is equal to omega are satisfied, my velocity becomes 0, omega also becomes 0, minus the initial kinetic energy is equal to half m vcm square at that time, at the v1 square, vcm square plus half I cm omega square. That is the kinetic energy at this position. So the initial kinetic energy, final kinetic energy this much, or I can write mg sine theta into s2 is equal to this value. I can write v is equal to omega r, I will satisfy this is equal to 3 by 4 minus 3 by 4 mv1 square. So solving this, I can v1, I know the v1 value we have calculated last page. So from this we will substitute this value. We can calculate the s2 to be equal to 3 by 4 into g sine alpha into here omega naught square r square into mu cos alpha minus sine alpha का whole square whole divided by 3 mu cos alpha minus sine alpha. So this the value that we obtain for the S2 value, that is the distance displacement of center of mass of the cylinder when sliding stops till the time it undergoes pure rolling motion and finally come to rest. So this S2 we have calculated. So S2 is this one. S1 earlier we have calculated. So if you make the S1 plus S2, we will be getting the total maximum height reached by the body of the incline. So if we substitute the value S1, S2, what we have calculated, as we can get the total S, maximum, that you can say the maximum distance will go up the incline. If we simplify this, we'll be getting the value omega naught square r square into mu square cos square alpha minus sine square alpha by this is equal to 4g sine alpha into 3 mu cos alpha minus sine alpha ka whole square. This we got the x maximum that the body will be traveling of the incline, that we can be calculated. This is our answer. So if we summarize that what happened in this problem is that initially the cylinder was given omega naught alone in a clockwise sense, a angular velocity, and no translation velocity. Friction force acted on this, and that increased the linear velocity in the up direction and decrease the omega. From this to this, sliding took place, and we find out the velocity at this point when pure rolling starts. After the pure rolling starts, friction force becomes static, act in the upward directions, and again further it decreases the change the velocity and friction force in the upward direction, mg sine theta downward direction, net acceleration in the downward directions. That's why it will be velocity will be decreasing, omega will be decreasing. From here to here it moves pure rolling motion. Friction force were not doing any work. From here to here friction force were doing work, gravity also doing work, but after that pure rolling take place, only gravity was doing work. From here to here we again applied the working theorem and to calculate the S2. So total we can calculate how much distance move with sliding and how much distance move in rolling. So total distance we calculated by adding S1 and S2 together. Next doubt has been asked by Animesh. Let's take the doubt. There is a question. It reads like this. The figure shows a small spherical ball of mass m rolling down the loop track. The ball is released on the linear portion of the vertical height h from the lowest point. The circular part shown has the radius r, capital R. So here the body has been released, and this is height is given as the h height, and it moves like this and moves in a circular path. Here the point A is there. So question is saying that find the kinetic in the ball when it is at the point A where the radius makes an angle theta with the horizontal. Here we need to calculate its kinetic energy. Okay. And the second question, find the radial and tangential acceleration of the center of the ball when the ball is at the A. When the ball has reached A point, its radial acceleration and tangential acceleration. These two things we have to calculate. From here to here ball has come and mass is rolling down. It is given the keyword is the body is rolling down and it is released from the rest. Highest point is released from the rest, and at this point, whichever the theta is making, this radius vector is making an angle theta with the horizontal, we need to calculate these two quantities. Here the ball is released from this position and it's come down and it is rolling. So always V is equal to omega R is satisfied from here to here. So here friction force will be acting throughout the path, but friction force will not be doing work here because friction force is static force is there and the surface rest is there. Bottommost point is at no relative motion surface, so friction force will not be doing work. So from here to here as it comes, neither normal action will do work nor the friction force will do work. Who will do work is the only gravitational force. So we'll be applying work energy theorem from here to here. Let the velocity here be v and it will be spinning at that moment with an angular velocity omega. So from initially it was released from rest and it's come from here to here, we'll be calculating. So effectively how much height is fallen through is this much height. This much height we can calculate. This is equal to h minus r minus this much equal to r sine theta. So we'll be writing the work energy theorem equations. So this will be equal to work done by gravity is equal to k final minus k initial. So that will be writing the mg into h minus r sine theta, and this is equal to your final kinetic energy is equal to half mv square plus half ICM omega square, or I can take the half I omega square about the ICOR, instantaneous center of rotation or instant axis of rotation. So I can write here half VCM square plus half ICM omega square, ICM into omega square. So this value, if I calculate the VCM equal to R omega R that I calculate for the solid sphere, this is equal to 7 by 10 mVcm square. So this will be left hand side of this one. From this simplifying, I can get the value of VCM square is equal to 10 G, get cancelled, 10 G by 7 into H minus R into 1 minus sine theta. So this is the VCM square we obtain. So at this point, speed we obtain. So omega can be obtained at that time also if you want. Then VCM by R, radius of the sphere will be there. Radius of the sphere, because VCM equal to omega R. Here omega we have set to the same thing. VCM by small r, which is the radius of the sphere, which is not given of course in the question, but it is having some radius. So once we get this one, now we will see and calculate what will be the radial acceleration and tangential acceleration of the solid sphere at that position. So to calculate that, we can calculate the radial acceleration from this. We'll be getting the radial acceleration like this. A radial will be equal to VCM square by radius of the sphere. AR is equal to VCM square. Last we calculated VCM square, we have calculated, we divide this by R, then we'll get the expression, this will be equal to tan G by 7 into H divided by R minus 1 minus sine theta. This will be the radial acceleration. Now we'll be calculating the tangential acceleration. To calculate tangential acceleration, let's draw the free body diagram of this sphere. So here one force will be there, mg cos theta will be there, mg cos theta will be there, and there will be a friction force will be there, mg cos theta and friction force, and we'll be writing the equation of motion for this, and we can obtain like this. So this will be equal to mg cos alpha or cos theta, mg cos theta minus f is equal to macm, and rf torque equation I'll writing is equal to ICM into alpha 2 by 5 m small r square into alpha. But this alpha I can substitute in place of alpha ACM by R because the pure rolling. So if I substitute this one, then here is equal to small r into f. If I substitute these equations and simplify, eliminate f, then we will be getting the value of acceleration of center of mass, that will be in the tangential. So adding these two equations, we can get G cos alpha is equal to cos theta is equal to 7 by 5 m ACM, or this will be equal to ACM is equal to 5G cos theta. This is equal to 5G cos theta by mg will be there, mg cos alpha will be there, and this is equal to 5G cos alpha by 7. This is the tangential acceleration. This is the in the tangential direction, so we call the tangential acceleration is this one. So we find the radial acceleration, we can tangential acceleration at any theta we calculated. Another interesting doubt has been sent by Bhrugu Ranjan. Let's take his doubt. Let's read the question. Question says, a uniform rod of mass m and length L, small m and small length L, is pivoted at point O. The rod is initially in vertical position and touching the block of mass m, which is at rest on a smooth horizontal surface. The rod is given a slight jerk and it starts moving about the point O. This causes the block to move forward as shown. The rod loses the contact with the block at theta is equal to 30 degree. Then you have to find out two things. You have to find out the value of mass ratio capital M by small m and the velocity of the block when the rod loses contact with the block. So if you see, initially the rod was like this and the block was here, and it pushed like this and it started moving like this. Okay, and again, what are the question given? At theta is equal to 30 degree, theta is equal to 30 degree, it loses contact. Loses contact means what happened? Normal direction become 0. So we have to find out capital M by small m ka ratio, and when this normal direction becomes 0, when we will be losing contact, at that time what is the velocity of this block, that we need to calculate. Let's see, solve this problem. To solve this, let's understand. Suppose this initially the rod was like this in this position and it has fallen like this, and right now it is making angle theta suppose, and the topmost point, the end point of the rod given a P, and suppose it is moving with the velocity v at the time and the angular velocity at that distance equal to omega. Okay, so we'll be calculating what is the velocity of the P point, because this P point is moving a circular path because rod is rotating about this axis. So V is equal to omega into L. V is equal to omega L. And also this is the V of the point P, the topmost point. Now this topmost point is moving a circular path, so it has a big acceleration. It is two component can be written as the a radial is equal to omega square into L, radius is equal to L, and a tangential will be equal to alpha into L. So these are the quantities are there for the topmost point that we calculated. Okay. Now there is a constant relation between the small v and capital V. What is small v? Small is the topmost point's velocity and v is the block's velocity. So what happens? Their velocity along this perpendicular direction, must be same. So what I can write is that small v sine theta, the component of the topmost point velocity along the capital V direction, they must be same. And small v we know is equal to omega L. So we can write the omega L sine theta is equal to v. So we got the value of v in terms of omega at that instant. We calculated. Now, similarly, if you draw the free body diagram of this block, on this there is a normal reaction force is there that is responsible for giving the acceleration. So normal reaction is equal to m into a. But if this normal reaction becomes 0, the acceleration has to become 0. So at the time of losing contact, this point acceleration, topmost point acceleration along this direction must be equal to 0. Topmost point acceleration, and topmost point acceleration is what? These are the accelerations are there. So their components along this direction has to be equal to 0. So we'll write in the AT and AR as like this. So this angle is theta. So this component of tangential is equal to AT sine theta, and this component of radial will be equal to AR cos theta. So the topmost point's acceleration, actually the P point along the x direction, I'll be writing is equal to AT sine theta minus AR cos theta, and that should be equal to the acceleration of the contact point of the block. So, and at the time of losing contact, that acceleration has to be equal to 0. And from this we can write like this, AT sine theta should be equal to AR cos theta. But we know what is AT, it is equal to alpha into L. So alpha L sine theta has to be equal to omega square L cos theta. This is our equations between the alpha, omega and theta. So this quantity will check here. We require to calculate this quantity to establish the relation. We require that alpha and omega is required. To calculate alpha, we'll write the torque equation, and again we'll calculate the omega also. Let's write in the next page for the torque equation will be there. So if you see the free body diagram of the block, the mg is the only force, and here there are two forces acting. One is the Rx and Ry, the hinge reaction. But if I take the torque about this point, they will not produce any torque. Only mg is the force that is producing torque. So net torque, I can write torque about the hinge point is equal to L by 2 cos theta, perpendicular distance, into mg. And this is equal to I alpha. So I can write ml square by 3 moment of inertia into alpha is equal to L by 2 cos theta into mg. So from this I can calculate the value of alpha, angular acceleration of the body can be calculated, and from that you can find the tangential acceleration. So alpha or alpha L directly, I will write the value of alpha L. L will get cancelled. Alpha L is equal to 3 by 2 g cos theta. So this is nothing but the value of tangential acceleration. This is my tangential acceleration. So this I will write at the AT. So I will be taking a substituting there. Then again I have to calculate the value of omega square, or omega square L I have to calculate. To calculate omega square, what we will do, we will apply the work energy theorem. So center of gravity was here and has fallen from this point to this point, has fallen through. So gravity has done work, and I write the work energy theorem. Then I will write the equation to be equal to mg into L by 2, and this angle is theta is there, L by 2 into 1 minus sine theta, because already it was L by 2 height, right now it is L by 2 sine theta height there. This is the work done by gravity is change in kinetic energy of the system. So what is the change in kinetic energy will be there? Half m capital equal to half I omega square of the rod, because it's rotating, plus half m into v square, minus the final kinetic energy, minus I can write initial kinetic of the system is equal to 0. Both are 0 and 0. So this is the values are there. From this we can simplify, and I is equal to ml square by 3. I will substitute and put this value, and I can calculate that L omega square or omega square L will come out to be equal to mg by twice of m by 3 plus m by 4. So this is the value of omega square L. We have know this is nothing but the A radial acceleration. So we got the radial acceleration, we got the tangential acceleration from the torque equation. If we take this both the values and we substitute in our equations, we take this and substitute our constant relation at sine theta is equal to ar cos theta, will be obtaining the relation between m and m. Let's check. So we have substituted the values of at, this at we have substituted, and ar value what we have calculated, that we substituted. After substituting we got this relation, and if we simplify this cos theta will be cancelled out, and we remain with m by 3 plus m by 4 comes out to be equal to 2m by 3, and simplifying this we can get the m by m is equal to 4 by 3. So we got the relation for the masses of the blocks. After this, the second question is asking to calculate the velocity of this block at the time of losing contact. So we have the relation, this one, that is the Work-Knight theorem relationship. Here capital M B, and here is small 1/3 ml square is there here. So now we know the m and m small m ratio is there, that we can substitute here, and we know the relation between omega and capital B also, that also will substitute, and we can put the theta is equal to 30 degree after this equation. So whole equation reduced to V, and it is simplified, and from that solving this question we can calculate the value of velocity of the block at the time of losing contact to be equal to V is equal to under root of 3 GL by 4. After you substitute as given the question, theta is equal to 30 degree we can obtain. If after this you can ask that question also, that there is a rod there and find the acceleration at this point. We know AT square plus AR square under root will be acceleration at this point. Sometimes it asks find the acceleration of center of mass the rod. So here also we can find out AT AR, this is equal to omega square L by 2, this is equal to alpha L by 2, and adding these two quantities vectorically we can find out the acceleration of the center of mass also can be calculated. We will take one last doubt, and this has been sent by Shubhashish. Let's read the question. Here is a problem of collision between particles in the rod, and subsequently the rod undergoes angular motion as well as translational motion. Let's read the question. A rod AC of length L and mass small m is kept on a horizontal smooth plane. It is free to rotate and move. A particle of same mass small m moving on the plane with a velocity small v strikes the rod at point B, making angle 37 degree with the rod. The collision is elastic. Then after collision it asks some of the questions. So here is the rod there, and in this rod particle came from this and strike it here. This is at a distance from 1 and L by 4 distance there. It strikes it, and the key word here is the collision is elastic collision. Second is the floor is a smooth plane. Floor is a smooth plane there. It may elastic collision and strike it. Okay. And second thing, the another keyword given, the mass is same, particle of same mass. Both the particle rod mass m and particle mass also m is there. So what the question has been asked, we have to find out the angular velocity of the rod. First the angular velocity of the rod, how much will be there? The center of the rod will travel. How much distance the center of the rod will travel? How much distance center of the rod will travel? In some time it is given. And impulse of the impact force is equal to, what is the impulse given by the impact force? We know the impulse is equal to change in momentum. And there are three quantities you have to find out, and it is asking how much distance the center of mass will move of the rod will move in a time when it makes half rotation. First, you have to find out half rotation time is how much you have to find out, and in that during that time how much distance it will be moving. Let's solve this problem. The particle was moving with a velocity v naught and strike the rod at this position, making angle 45 degree given and L by 4. And suppose that after the collision, see on during the collision what happened on the rod, there is a force acted like this, normal direction acted like this. So rod will be moving in this direction only. So after the collision, suppose the rod ka center mass with moves the velocity v, and the particle velocity we don't know, some impact acted on this particle, also some impact acted. So we take the velocity of the particle p equal to small v, and small v is equal to, you take something I cap component, x component I cap plus its y component j cap. It moves like this. Maybe I have taken the, I don't know where it will go, bx by I have taken positive. If it is one of the negative, it may be second quadrant, third quadrant, or fourth quadrant will be there. So as it was unknown, I taken the first quadrant to solve it. So these are the quantities are there. This is, we assumed this one. Then let's say what other things can be applied. What are the equations can be applied? Let's start thinking what can we do. We can apply conservation of momentum for the whole system because there is no external force there. So we can apply conservation of momentum for the whole system in any directions. So let's apply conservation of momentum for the whole system along the, suppose this is my y-axis and this is my the y-axis, suppose in the y direction. Similarly, I can apply the conservation of momentum because on the particle there is a force is acting in this direction only. So I can apply conservation of momentum for the system, for the particle along the x direction also. I can apply conservation of energy, I can apply for the whole system because it is given the elastic collision. Or I can apply, again we can apply conservation of angular momentum for the whole system. Conservation of angular momentum for system. So let's apply one by one and check. If we apply the conservation of linear momentum for the whole system along the y directions. So initially the particle momentum was m into v naught by root 2 and the rod was at rest. Okay. And this will be equal to, after the collision, this particle moves to the velocity vy, we don't know, we have to calculate, plus this capital M, the other rod, moves to velocity v. And in the question, this is given as small m, it is given. So simplifying this, we can get Vy is equal to, or capital V is equal to, we can derive, right? Vy is equal to V naught by root 2 minus capital V, or I can write capital V is equal to V naught by root 2 minus Vy. Anyone we can write. We got a relation between them. Now, similarly, we can apply this as a question number 1. I can apply conservation of linear momentum for the particle also in the x direction because the force on the particle is acting like this. So in this direction momentum remain conserved. So from that I can write equation m into minus b naught by root 2 because it was in this direction, all was there in this direction, and plus this was 0, and this is equal to m into vx plus, and the rod is not moving in the x direction, so it will be 0 will be there. So from this also we got the value of Vx, we calculate to be equal to minus V naught by root 2. So we got this another relation for Vy. So we got for Vx and we calculated for Vy. Two equations we got, one for Vx we got, one for Vy we got. Vx we got in the known quantity form V naught, Vy we got in terms of V. The two equations we applied. So let's give the name equation number 2 for this. And what else we can do? We can apply conservation of angular momentum for the whole system. About which point? About any point. So let's apply conservation or angular momentum of the whole system about the center of the rod. Why? Because the rod will be executing plane general motion. We'll see why. So if we apply the conservation of angular momentum for the whole particle plus rod system about the center of the rod, then we can write initial angular momentum Li is equal to Lf, or Li of the particle plus Li of the rod is equal to LF of the particle plus LF of the rod. Separately we are writing. So if you write one by one term, first the particle will see the RCM cross PCM. The particle velocity has two components like this. L V naught by root 2 is here and V naught by root 2 is there, and this is equal to L by 4. So this component, when there is RCM cross PCM, for the particle will do RCM cross PCM, we will do apply RCM cross PCM. This component will not be featuring here. So what will be there is equal to L by 4 M V naught by root 2. One term is there, RCM cross PCM. Plus rod was before collision, it was a rest, so it will be 0. And for the after collision, this will be L by 4. Again, Vx will not be featuring in this because cross product will be 0. M into Vx plus for the rod, as the rod is doing plane general motion, the angular momentum formula will be RCM cross PCM plus ICM omega. That's why we have taken the angular momentum about this point, so that our calculation will be easier, because RCM will be 0, because about this point, from this point to this point is equal to 0. So first term RCM becomes 0, RCM cross PCM is equal to 0, plus ICM omega. In place of ICM omega, I can write ML square by 12 into omega. So this all also in the clockwise sense, K cap and K cap, and this omega can be calculated, and the question that the mass is same is given. So this we obtained the equation between this, and simplifying this we can obtain the value of omega, or we can get the value of Vy can be calculated from this equation. Vy is equal to V naught by root 2 minus L by 3 omega. So we got another relation for Vy. Let's give this equation a name called equation number 3. So we got three equations. We got the one capital Vx we obtained in terms of V naught, absolutely. Vy in terms of capital V, or Vy capital V in terms of Vy, equation number 2, 1, and Vy in terms of omega we obtained. Let's see what else can be done. As it is an elastic collision, we can apply either E is equal to 1 equation can be applied, or we can apply conservation of kinetic energy for the whole system. Kinetic energy conservation. Let's apply kinetic energy conservation. So what we can write, the kinetic energy of the particle plus kinetic energy of the rod before collision is equal to same thing, kinetic energy of the particle plus kinetic energy of the rod after collision. So this we substitute in before collision will be equal to half m v naught square, and the rod was at rest. This should be equal to, after the collision, the particle moves with the velocity. We have taken the Vx ix plus Vy j, the speed square equal to Vx square plus Vy square for the particle, and for the rod that we have to write down is equal to half m capital M into Vcm square, half mv square plus half m Vcm square plus half ICM omega square is equal to ml square by 12 into omega square, and in the question it is given the small m and the rod mass is given small m. So this we can simplify, this equation can be simplified, and we can get a relation, one equation we got. So let's give this name equation number 4. So this we can write like this, and equation number 4 we have written. So we have got 4 equations, and we have 4 unknown variables, Vx, Vy, that is the particle velocity after collision, and capital V is the velocity of center of mass of the rods after collision, and omega is the angular speed of the rod. So there are 4 equations, 4 unknown variables we can solve. In this equation, we can substitute the value of Vx from equation number 2, Vy from equation number 3, capital V from equation number 1 in terms of Vy, again Vy in terms of omega. So whole equation will reduce to omega, and we can calculate omega, we can calculate Vx, we can calculate Vy, we can calculate, capital V can be calculated. Let's see what we are obtaining. Solving this all 4 simultaneous equations, we can get omega will be equal to 72 by 55 V naught by L, where V naught is the initial velocity of the particle before collision. And if we solve this one, we can get the capital V, the velocity of center of the rod just after collision, to be equal to 24 by 55 v naught in terms of particle velocity just before collision. So these are the quantity we can obtain. Now let's go to the question and see what the question has been asked. First thing, these two results we obtain. The first bit is saying that the angular velocity of rod will be equal to 72 by 55 v by L, v naught by L. So this is absolutely correct. Second question is saying that find the center of the rod will travel a distance of this much in the time in which it will make the half rotation. So we have calculated time period there. So omega we calculated. So as we have got there that omega is equal to 72 by 55 v naught by L. From this we can calculate time period, or t by 2 half time period can be calculated to be equal to 55 by 72 pi L by v naught. 2 pi by t, omega is equal to how much? 2 pi by t. So from t by 2 calculate. So this much time, in this much time how much it will move, and the rod with what velocity would move? No. So displacement of the rod will be equal to velocity of the center of mass of the rod into this time. So if this value will substitute, velocity of the rod is known to us. So if we multiply this time with the velocity of the rod that we calculated, 24 by 55 v naught that we calculated, so it cancels, and this value will come out to be equal to pi L by 3. Pi L by 3. We'll check. It is saying that pi L by 3 it will be distance, it will be moving. That's correct. So this option is correct, this option is correct. And the third is in the impulse of the impact of the force. And impulse is what? Change in momentum. So particle momentum will change, also the rod momentum will change. So it is easy to calculate rod because rod was at rest. So the delta p of the rod is equal to impulse is equal to m into v, final momentum, minus initial at 0. So this is equal to small m. So this velocity what we calculated for the rod that we multiplied here is equal to m into 24 by 55 v naught will be the change in the rod, that is the impulse, and we see this answer is also correct. So all the answers A, B and C, all three answers are correct in this question. We will wind up the doubt discussion session today here. We have taken 3 sessions of rotation mechanics. If you have more doubts, you can send the doubt to writefonda@gmail.com, and if you want more doubt discussion in different topics, you mention the topic in the comment section, which topic you want more doubt discussion session to be conducted. So signing off for today.